Hello and welcome to another episode of the Embodied Union podcast. I'm Lindsey.
I'm Charlie.
And today we're going to be talking about somatic psychotherapy
Versus
talk
therapy, more standard, the mainstream style of therapy.
Yeah.
People seem to know.
Yeah, and I think this is just something that we've been speaking about behind the scenes quite a lot lately, is because obviously both Charlotte and I study somatic psychotherapy. So obviously we see the benefit and have experienced the benefit ongoingly in our own therapy and in our own practice. But I guess just coming from a more talk-based model, whether it was for me just through men's work or for you through your studies.
Well, I started with psychology and counselling and went into coaching. So a lot of that is very much like people come in, talk about their problems, you kind of offer solutions. And yeah, it's very cognitive, talk-based style of practice.
Yeah, and I guess the thought that I have around this is that real limited dynamic that it creates between the client and the therapist when I see talk therapy being done, because it kind of allows only for the therapist to have the insights. And it's kind of like, well, if I'm the client and I just talk and talk and talk, hopefully I say all the things that lets the therapist know how to fix me.
Yeah, and so you get clients that come in and it's like, if you let them, they'll spend the 60 minutes in the story. And I really get it, because I've been that client myself where I've gone into therapy and I'm like, I just need you to know all of the details. Like, I need to make sure you know the full picture. And there is definitely some like merit in giving context, but knowing my own experience as a client of talk therapy and also being a practitioner of talk therapy, it tends to keep people stuck in the story rather than any real therapeutic healing occurring. Yeah.
I think with this too is like, I hear about it from the men's perspective of, oh, I've been to therapy and I've spoken about this. Why do I need to go back into it? Or, it doesn't really help. And, I need to go out in my life and just live my life. And, I want solutions and I want to solve this problem. And it's kind of like, I don't know, using a chisel to cook your dinner with. It's like the wrong tool for the job. It's like, you're not going to get the results that you want just by talking.
I think there is some merit to it. Like, it does foster awareness, and awareness is really important. It also can provide catharsis. Like, if you get a client that really just maybe they've never told the story before.
Totally.
Maybe there's like a victim story, something has happened and they've actually never named it. There can be something really healing in having that person tell their story and it be held by a compassionate witness. Like, I definitely think there is room for it, but I know we both agree, like, there is a limit.
Well, I think you're right there. It's like, but what is actually happening by talking and speaking to something that's never been spoken to before, you're actually having a missing experience, which is an experience, not just the talking. The talking didn't actually give you the breakthrough. It was
being heard, being witnessed, having empathy, having compassion.
Correct.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true.
The therapist is actually offering the missing experience, which is largely some of the work that you and I do with clients is, how can we, the therapist, support the client in an experience that they've had that might have caused pain, suffering, shame, fear, whatever it is, and actually give that client the missing experience by us facilitating some different experience for them such that they can study it. And see, this is, I guess, the point that I'm trying to allude to by having this even as a discussion is, we're doing it in real time. And I think the real basis here is the difference between the experiencing self, which is the subconscious, where there's openness, there's curiosity to something new happening, which is what experience is. We're in the experience of something, versus the remembering self, which is really the story self. And I think that's why I've loved Hakomi so much, and the study and the learning of it is, we're not stuck in the story. We're not stuck in the remembering and the rehashing that story over and over, which actually only reinforces or re-damages the person over and over again, versus giving them the opportunity to have an experience that's different, which anything can happen. And I so love that when I go into a session with a client is we're both just in it together, in this experience, giving them a new opportunity to learn something new about themselves rather than trying to fix or problem solve or give solutions, or at best sometimes me just giving them an insight with my knowledge. It's like, sure, I can get a rush out of that by being the know-it-all or being a good therapist, but you are the expert of you, the listener.
And I don't think people realize that, because they come to therapy wanting the expert to somehow make it better. So somatic psychotherapy is really a reorienting of you starting to know yourself as the expert. And like a lot of a core, really to be accessing the somatic world, it requires a level of mindfulness. And like when people come in for talk therapy, like they're not in a mindful state. Like they are rehashing a story. It's very cognitive. It can be very fast. And so the first thing that we're inviting people to do is actually like drop out of that fast storytelling state and come down into the body. And like that itself is just like, it's so different to talk therapy.
And sometimes that might take a few sessions too. Like,
I remember the first time I did a Hakomi session as a client, and like I'm quite heady and cognitive and analyzing everything. And I spent the entire 60 minutes, like what are you feeling? Like, come into your body, what's here right now, notice what you're feeling. And I was in my body, not at all. I was in my head thinking about what am I supposed to be feeling? Like, what am I looking for? Like I was really searching hard for something, like trying to figure it out, and like really not in mindfulness at all. So often when we have clients who have come from a lot of talk therapy or just they're very heady, cognitive people, it can take a couple of sessions to just have them like understand what mindfulness is, and like being curious to what is happening. Like first, like it's one thing to be curious and able to study what's happening in the body. First, you have to feel it. Like lots of people are just like floating heads, and it's like, what do you feel in your body? And it's like, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
And I think speaking into this specifically for clients that aren't in their bodies a lot, I think there's a lot of talk currently around fuck your feelings, and your feelings aren't facts. It's like, no, your feeling is your way of experiencing and giving yourself a felt sense. Like so much of your experience is non-verbal. So to disregard it, it's the talk in jiu-jitsu is, why would you disregard half of the body? This is an inside joke, but it's the whole premise here of like talking is just a fraction of the true experience. So your feeling is actually giving you so much information.
And it's like, it doesn't, when like I hear you say fuck your feelings, and I do see a lot of that in the more coaching style space, we're still not saying that your feelings are the truth, but your feelings are worthy of like checking out. It's like and like often when I ask someone what they're feeling, they'll give me story. Like I feel really unseen, or I feel really unmet, feel really unappreciated. I'm like, that's not actually a feeling. There's actually not that many emotions, like there's sad, anger, fear, grief, guilt, and then sensations are tingling, hot, heat, cold, contracting. So even when you ask someone for a feeling, they will give you a story. And so, yeah, there can be a bit of work just learning how to actually feel what's going on in your body underneath the story. But once you have capacity for that, which I believe everybody does,
correct,
especially if I can do it, then you start to actually become quite curious to the experience that you're having. It's like, oh, the story is I feel unseen, but now that I'm in my body, I actually just feel really sad. Or I actually feel like some fear in my solar plexus. Like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize it was fear. And like this kind of curiosity and self-studying is what really allows for the client to have their own insight. And like you said before, you having your own insight in therapy is what creates the shift. We can definitely give you so much insight. It was your father or your mom, whatever. We can put all these puzzle pieces together for you. But it's like when you recognize something for yourself inside of your own emotional landscape, I feel like that is the most profound thing you can be doing in therapy. And it does create a shift.
Long-lasting shift that feels so effortless once you've done it yourself, because talking the talk is not walking the walk. And that is why I so believe in psychotherapy, especially the somatic version of being in the experience, because that's how it got there in the first place. Your core beliefs, the things that have happened to you, good and bad, are all your experience. So the way to repattern that or reparent it is through having the experience done in mindfulness, such that you can watch it, slow it down, taste it, feel it, sense it, judge it, all the things that are going to be needed so you can get a new view of what is really going on and how it happens. Often you are so automatic in your experience and response that you can't even sense it. You can't even tell that it's happening. That's why triggers seem to pop up. It's like you're not even noticing all the feeling that you're having or everything that's building up to that moment. And it could be, I'm never heard by my partner. And so there's already a contraction when you're going into a conversation, or I can never get this right, or whatever it might be that's there. It's like it's already there. You're already in the experience before it's even started. Yeah.
I'd love to speak to the other kind of client that I get. So often we'll get people who have never done somatics and they're very cognitive, very heady. They're trying to figure it out. They want answers, they want solutions. And with this client, it's really about us educating them on like how to be mindful, how to study, how to find your own insight. And that's one style of client that can walk through the door. There is another style, and there's many, but there's another, and I'll say women, because I work with women, who have really been in the embodiment spaces for a long time. And if you've done any embodiment work or you've done group embodiment or like holotropic breath work, there's lots of people in these rooms kind of performing feelings. So they'll be screaming the house down, they'll be wailing, they're in big hysterics, like it's all very cathartic, but it's very loud. Like you've been in these rooms, right?
Yes.
Like they're big energy, and they condition people, women and men, but I work with women, to believe that performing feelings is feeling their feelings. So this kind of woman will come to a somatic therapy session and will go into the body, and then it'll come up like a wave, like let's just say it's sadness, and then like hysterical tears, but they don't actually stop. It's just like bawling her eyes out. And this is part of the conditioning from the embodiment spaces, is she believes that this is her feeling her feelings and healing her feelings. But there is a big difference between performing feelings and feeling feelings. Like when you, in a Hakomi or a somatic session, when a genuine feeling arises and it's very authentic, it comes up and it has a peak, but it kind of simmers, doesn't it? It comes up like a wave. It can feel deep and like big, but it doesn't go on and on and on. It doesn't loop. It doesn't keep looping and looping and looping. It kind of comes up and then it kind of ends. And like that is really like, do you want to speak more into this?
I will,
there's a very big difference.
What it also is too is, let's say, because I work predominantly with men, it's okay, if a man is angry and he wants to express it, it's not that he punches a pillow in real time. He might like, just to begin with, just start to like flex his hand into a fist just to notice what that feels like. So it's all done with like experiential mindfulness. He might then go to throw a punch, but it's in mindfulness. So it's, you're studying what you're doing and also like garnering or like withdrawing meaning from it rather than being totally lost in it. Because sure, you can be in your riding the rapids or in the big emotions. That's one thing. But if we are doing that, we need to make sure afterwards we're also then grounding that into what did you draw from that? What's the meaning that you're pulling from that afterwards? What's the insight to sort of help the client? Because otherwise we can get stuck in the performing, the catharsis. And this is the thing, you can have a big experience, you can have catharsis, but if you don't pull meaning to it, it's just
moving energy.
That's literally all
which
it
is
is.
which it can still be a good thing. You know, like after a big cry, it's like, oh, I feel better. Or after a rage release, you're like, oh, I feel a little bit less angry. So it can be beneficial to move energy, but it's still a performance of feelings and not like a genuine feeling of feelings and studying of feelings.
Big difference.
So like I get a lot of women from the embodiment spaces who are very used to like raging and hitting pillows and all the things. And it's like, I'm not demonizing these as complementary tools, but I don't see it as ways of integrating anything.
Correct.
It's not actually integrating the wounding or the experience that you had, because it does need that level of self-study and mindfulness. So I just really wanted to point that out, because I would love for a woman listening to this to be like, oh, that's what I've been doing. And to then bring to her somatic sessions like a different lens or a different kind of capacity to be with the things that can feel really big.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's like knowing that the as a therapist, we give ourselves permission to be able to interrupt a pattern that we're seeing. So it could be that as well. It could be if the client is talking a lot, it's like really contacting that they feel like there's a lot in there. They could be, this is a lot, or like, how does this all tie together? To start to bring mindfulness to the client, to start to go, yeah, what am I trying to get here? What am I trying to say? Do I really not feel heard in my life? Is that the actual bigger thing? It's not no amount of words. It's like someone who has an addiction maybe to sex. It's like no amount of sex is ever going to satisfy. It's like, and is this working? Is me talking actually helping here? Because I think the part that I really want to speak into as well is people go and get like and there's nothing wrong with this, like a Medicare, 10 sessions talk therapy with somebody, and they go, oh, I did therapy, it didn't do anything. And I just feel so like, oh no, that'd be like, oh, I went to the gym and it didn't work. It's like, oh, there's so many different ways to train. It's not like, oh, I tried training, it wasn't for me. I went to a restaurant and now I don't go out anymore because I had